free to do whatever I want.
You believe you live in a world of freedom. Freedom to think, freedom to choose, freedom to decide your own path. But what if the greatest manipulation in human history was never forcing people to obey, but teaching them to believe they were free? What if the opinions you defend, the products you buy, the leaders you trust, were never accidents of personal choice? What if they were outcomes, carefully engineered by systems you interact with every day, but rarely question? And what if the true architects of manipulation are not hiding in shadows, but operating in plain sight, not controlling you through force, but through influence, not demanding obedience, but shaping agreement? Because the most powerful manipulators in history did not conquer minds. They manufactured consent. And once you understand how that was done, you will never see the modern world the same way again. To master the reality you live in, you must first understand how power evolved. In the 16th century, the political philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli wrote The Prince, Asiva servitusit didutrand, the ultimate instruction manual for ruling the masses through fear, deception, and physical force. But modern architects realized Machiavelli had a fatal flaw. If you put a man in physical chains, he knows he is a prisoner. He will spend every waking moment plotting his escape. The ruling class needed a cage the public could not see. The philosopher Karl Marx exposed exactly how this invisible cage was constructed. He called it ideology. Marx revealed a chilling reality. The ideas of the ruling class are in every epoch the ruling ideas. In layman's terms, the people in power dictate what is considered normal and what is considered insane. They build an invisible electric fence around human imagination, and they enforce this boundary through a psychological trap known as the false binary. They present you with two opposing options, left or right option, A or option B. They agitate your emotions and demand that you pick a side. But it is a cognitive illusion. They keep you so consumed by fighting over A and B that you never realize options C and D exist. They do not care which side of the chessboard you stand on because they own the board. To understand the architecture of this manipulation, we must look at the foundation of the modern mind. At the dawn of the 20th century, the pioneering psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud made a discovery that would change the trajectory of human history. Freud proved that humans are not driven by rational logic, but by deep, unconscious desires, fears, and repressed emotions. While Freud intended to use this knowledge for therapy, his nephew, a man named Edward Bernays, saw a different opportunity. Bernays, who would later become known as the father of public relations, realized something terrifying. If you understand the unconscious mind, people's choices can be manufactured. He took his uncle's psychological discoveries and weaponized them to shape the behavior not of individuals, but of entire populations. In the 1920s, Bernays executed his most famous campaign, known as the Torches of Freedom. At the time, it was socially unacceptable for women to smoke publicly. Bernays was hired by the tobacco industry to break this taboo and double their market. He did not sell cigarettes by talking about their taste or quality. Instead, he engineered a cultural movement. During the 1929 Easter Parade in New York, he hired a group of women to march and dramatically light cigarettes at the exact same moment in front of the press. He explicitly framed the cigarettes not as a product, but as torches of freedom, a symbol of female liberation and equality. Overnight, smoking became a political statement, a social identity. The choice to smoke was transformed into a manufactured rebellion. Bernays proved that you do not sell products, you sell identity and belonging. He summarized his dark legacy with a chilling quote: "The conscious and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. To make this manipulation universal, the architects turned to another giant of psychology, Carl Jung. Jung discovered what he called the collective unconscious, a shared psychological operating system that every human being is born with. Hidden inside this operating system are archetypes, ancient, powerful symbols that instantly bypass your critical thinking and speak directly to your soul. The hero, the outlaw, the sage, the rebel. These archetypes are the cheat codes to the human brain. When a multi-billion-dollar corporation sells you a shoe, they do not talk about rubber. They map their brand onto the hero archetype, selling you the feeling of overcoming impossible odds. When a politician rolls up his sleeves on a stage, he is not adjusting his clothing. He is performing the everyman archetype, silently signaling to your unconscious mind that he is one of you. The architects do not market to your intellect. They use these ancient psychological codes to hack your logic and manufacture your loyalty. Once the blueprint for mass persuasion was established, it was quickly adopted by governments. During the major global conflicts of World War I and World War II, propaganda evolved into a strategic military weapon. Governments realize that you do not just fight enemies on a battlefield. You must shape the belief, emotion, and identity of your own citizens. This psychological engineering was perfected by figures like Joseph Goebbels, who built the machinery of narrative control for the Nazi regime. Goebbels understood the biological vulnerability of the human brain to repetition. He controlled the media, the language, the images, and the emotional temperature of an entire nation. His method was built on a singular, devastating psychological truth. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. Mass belief was no longer an organic phenomenon. It was an industrial product. But as the 20th century progressed, the architects of manipulation realized that overt propaganda was too obvious. To control a modern, educated society, the cage had to become invisible. This required a new type of gatekeeper, the modern media. The influential political commentator, Walter Lippmann, introduced a concept that explains exactly why you see the world the way you do today. He called it the pseudo-environment. Lippmann argued that human beings do not actually react to reality. They react to curated representations of reality. He wrote, "The real environment is altogether too big, too complex. We have to reconstruct it on a simpler model before we can manage it." Today, this reconstructed model is your news feed, your social timeline, and your trending topics. The media selects, frames, and filters the information you consume. They do not have to tell you what to think. They simply dictate what you think about. You are trapped in a curated reality, reacting emotionally to a world that has been meticulously edited for your consumption. This invisible framing extends far beyond the media. It is baked into the very fabric of human interaction. The pioneering sociologist Emile Durkheim proved that society itself acts as a psychological force, guiding behavior without force and without violence, entirely through social norms. Durkheim argued that social facts must be understood as things. By this, he meant that culture shapes human behavior with the same inescapable power that gravity shapes physical motion. You did not wake up neutral. You were born into a pre-existing language, a set of traditions, and a framework of acceptable beliefs. These social norms act as an invisible cultural cage, shaping your identity long before you are capable of conscious, independent thought. To ensure you never rebel against this cultural cage, the system conditions you from childhood. The educational philosopher John Dewey laid this groundwork. We view schools as places of intellectual liberation, but historically, they were designed as the factory floor of the human mind. Dewey stated, "Education is not preparation for life. Education is life itself." The deepest secret of the classroom is what psychologists call the hidden curriculum. It is the silent, daily conditioning of learning to sit in a grid, obey the sound of a bell, suppress divergent thought, and accept that authority holds a monopoly on the truth. The moment you graduate, your standardized mind is handed over to consumer culture. The economist Thorstein Veblen diagnosed the tragedy of the modern self when he identified conspicuous consumption. You do not spend $1,000 on a designer brand because of the fabric. You buy it as a psychological defense mechanism against feeling invisible. Veblen proved that choice becomes social signaling, not personal need. The architects engineered a society where your self-worth is entirely dependent on the symbols you purchase. Consumerism is not an economy. It is a psychological leash. Everything we have discussed so far was manipulation 1.0. Today, the architects don't use billboards or posters. They use predictive code. We have entered what the Harvard scholar Shoshana Zuboff calls surveillance capitalism. She warns that surveillance capitalism unilaterally claims human experience as free raw material. Your attention, your anxiety, and your outrage are the literal resources being mined. Behavioral scientist B.J. Fogg wrote the formula for this, proving that a simple digital prompt triggers a compulsive interaction loop. Your smartphone is a slot machine sitting in your pocket, and the algorithm is dealing the cards. But the darkest mystery of the modern world is the digital twin. The algorithm has built a perfect virtual replica of your psychology. It knows your political triggers, your desires, and your secret insecurities better than you do. The author George Orwell warned in 1984 that the ultimate goal of power is to control reality itself. He wrote, "Freedom is the freedom to say that 2 + 2 make 4. Today, truth itself is engineered by the algorithm. And the most terrifying part is how the human mind adapts. The French philosopher Michel Foucault described the ultimate prison as the panopticon, jail where the prisoners never know when they are being watched, so they eventually start policing themselves. Social media is the digital panopticon. You filter your own thoughts, you censor your speech, and you conform to the algorithmic mob, terrified of being cancelled. The system doesn't need guards anymore. They turned you into your own warden. The illusion is fracturing. You are standing in the conscious chamber, and the dark psychology of the modern world has been laid bare. But before you step back into the noise of society, you must arm yourself. Grab a pen. Write these down. These are the 5 dark psychological secrets the architects pray you never learn. Secret number 1, the law of engineered desire. You do not want the things you think you want. Your desires were implanted. The architects create a psychological void, a feeling of inadequacy, ugliness, or irrelevance. And then they sell you the product or the ideology to temporarily fill it. To be free, you must stop asking, "How do I get what I want?" and start asking, "Who trained me to want this?" Secret number 2, the weaponization of fatigue. The system is deliberately designed to overwhelm your nervous system. The endless breaking news, the notifications, the outrage cycles. They are not accidents. A tired mind cannot resist suggestion. When you are exhausted, your critical thinking shuts down, and your subconscious accepts whatever it is fed. Silence and focus are no longer just habits. They are acts of psychological warfare against the system. Secret number 3, the false binary trap. If you are arguing within the boundaries they set, you have already lost. The moment you define your identity by a political party, a brand, or a manufactured social movement, you have surrendered your autonomy. True intellectual dominance requires stepping off the chessboard entirely and refusing to choose between their 2 rigged options. Secret number 4, the panopticon protocol. The ultimate form of mind control is getting the victim to censor themselves. If you are afraid to speak the truth because you fear the judgment of a digital algorithm or an online mob, the architects have won. Do not do the work of the prison guard for them. Secret number 5, attention is the only currency. Your attention is the literal power source of the matrix. Where your attention goes, your reality is built. The moment you allow a curated feed to make you angry, or an advertisement to make you feel inferior, you have funded the architect's empire with your own psychological energy. You must become the ruthless dictator of your own focus. The architects have spent a century building a flawless psychological cage. They showed you the menu, and they told you it was freedom. But now you see the code. You cannot burn down the systems of the world. but you can unplug your mind from their power grid. Welcome deeper into the conscious chamber.
Chamber.